Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm gonna get straight into the point. I know it's been a long time since I've uploaded, but let's just talk about what we're gonna be doing today. Okay, so if you've been watching the build for, I don't know, at least a couple months, you would know that we recently did the chassis mount shifter. And there's nothing wrong with the chassis mount shifter. I drove it a couple times with it. I really like the chassis mount shifter, but there are particularly a couple things that I don't like about it, and I'll go into an explanation why and why we're switching that out today. Now, if you remember a couple months ago, we actually installed this Garagistic chassis mount with the ZHP shift knob, and overall it's a really great shifter. You can see how short that is. Now, I really do like the notchiness of the shifter, but I have one huge issue with it. That is in gear. That wiggle is in gear. Here's neutral, and here's in gear. I can't do this. It was fun while it lasted, but it's time to rip this thing out. So you may be thinking, okay, just get a dual shear selector rod and you can eliminate all your play. Well, that's what I thought. It turns out that's not the case. So there's still play between the DSSR and where the shifter actually hooks up. I'm not sure if that is 100% responsible for all the shifter slop. I really hope it is, because what I'm doing today would render that useless if that's the case. I unfortunately don't know how worn these transmission detent pins are, but given that this car has 215,000 miles, it may just be part of it. So my theory behind this is I should just do this now, because I'm the type of person to get very comfortable with something after it bothers me for a couple weeks, and that is not what I want to happen with the shifter. The last thing I want to do is be going into third and hit first. I really don't want to do that. I'm confident in my ability to shift gears, but at the same time, with that amount of play, you just never know, and I don't want to risk that. But what would totally suck would be rebuilding all of this linkage just to find out that it really is the transmission detents and there's nothing I can do about it. Unfortunately, there's only one way to find out, and that's by testing it with a completely different shifter setup. Which leads us to this. Go into the magical E36 box and you'll notice I still have the carrier. I still got the OEM shifter, the OEM carrier, and the OEM selector rod, none of which is actually broken. That was my intention when I pulled this out. I know a lot of people just rip them out, but I saved this for a reason. I never thought I would need this again, but I do. I'm gonna revert to using this, the single shear, the carrier, the OEM shifter. But that's not to say I'm not gonna be refreshing all of this. So here's where it gets cool for you as a viewer. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away the chassis mount shifter and the dual shear selector rod. So if you're interested in using it, running it, whatever, I will have a giveaway for that. The catch is, obviously, that's once we hit 1,000. The only reason I wouldn't give it away now is I just believe there's not going to be enough participants to make it worthwhile. You guys have seen how this chassis mount shifter works. You know that it works good. It's basically brand new. I think the only reason it doesn't work for me is the way it's set up in my car in particular. I think this will be a great shifter for anybody. I'm not going to be asking you to share the video or buy something from me to get entered. It's whenever we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving it away as a celebration for 1,000 subs. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm gonna put this back in the box. I'm gonna jack this car up. You guys have seen this 1,000 times. Jack up your E36. Now that I know everything from before, this should be pretty easy. I've said this once and I'll say it again. Jacking up this car is always the most nerve-wracking part of the job. I don't know what it is, but because this car is so low, I can't go from the differential and I can't go from the front subframe. Ideally, the best way to jack this car up, or any car for that matter, would be 2 jacks so you can do everything even. Anyways, teeter-tottered it, and this time I got the jacks a lot higher than last time. Before, they were sitting in their first position. Now they're almost maxed out. It's a little nerve-wracking, but the last thing I'm going to do to prepare for this is unplug the battery. Easiest way to go about this, just disconnect the ground with the 13, slap a rag over the terminal, that way there can be no connection. Just put a rag over the latch there, just close this trunk, not let it latch so it doesn't lock us out. Just like that. Holy shit. Okay, now depending on what your setup is, it's going to be super simple. You'll have some foam as like sound deadening. Some insulation here. You can pull that out, and then you will be, if this is your traditional shifter, it will be sitting in the carrier, and you're going to put a screwdriver in the shifter and rotate it clockwise. I'll link my other video if you need to reference that, but basically Now that I'm here, I just need to actually go underneath and disconnect it, and then I can unbolt the sandwich plate that this chassis mount sits in. Okay, I really didn't want to get into coveralls for this job, but last time I ruined shorts, a shirt, a hat, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sweat my ass off in some coveralls. I know I'm looking like a tryhard right now, but I'm really tired of destroying clothes, so I'm just gonna sit trapped in this sweatsuit and we're gonna get to work. I'm gonna bring the camera down there and I'll show you exactly what you need to do. So what you're gonna do is right in front of the cats, you see where your drive shaft bolts up to the 𝙡𝙤𝙠𝙚 here. There is your linkage, right there. Now as you can see, mine looks a little bit different because it's obviously the chassis mount, but you get the point. Here is, there's a pin you can see in there, and then the pin to get access to, is actually right there. You really can't see it. I mean, I'm shoving the camera up in between this little hole, so hopefully you can see it. But there is a pin on the other side. There's a pin on the other side of that right there. Basically, you need to follow the dual shear. You can see it there, that little elbow bar. You just want to follow that back. And then I'll see if I can get an angle for you, but it'll probably be pretty tough. Okay, now the best way to get in here, obviously this is on the other side, but there is a clip on the other side and you can reach up here and pull that clip out with the pin. It's a little harder to get on the other side, but like I said, I'm showing you how to do this with the drive shaft in, so you have to bear with me. You're just gonna have to stick your hand up there. You really won't be able to see it. You're gonna have to kind of feel around, but just get a pick with kind of a tooth like that, and then you can get in between it and pull it straight down and it should come out. Then you can pull that pin out. This is a pin from the chassis mount, but you'll get something very similar. The selector rod actually doesn't have a separated pin. The pin is part of the selector rod for the OEM piece, but just keep that in mind. You'll also have some stuff fall out. These were just washers provided by 𝙢𝙧𝙚 that I had to sand down because they didn't fit correctly. Thank you, 𝙢𝙧𝙚. This is the clip they used. It's a very similar thing. You just need to stick a pick in one of those little spots so you can actually pry it and pull it down. All right, the dual shear is now disconnected. There it is. So, like I said, there's a pin. See, it sits like that. That would be towards the shifter. This other part is towards the tunnel. All right, thankfully that only took me about 10 minutes. This is crucial because you need the most leverage. So a pick like this is gonna be your best friend. Also, jacking up the car as high as you can safely is also going to be your best friend. The more room you have under there is going to make it a hell of a lot easier, especially when you're under that little space and there's not a lot of room for you to actually see what you're doing, so feeling around is kind of the only way to go about this. Heard that? Just dropped. Now we just gotta go get that bottom half from under the car. I heard it roll. I don't know where it rolled to, but it's out from under the car. Oh, there it is. Yep, okay, well, that's the bottom. I'm not sure how well the camera will be able to pick this up, but you can see dual shear there. You can see the gap there. I've just taken some brake cleaner to this selector rod here. Looks all fresh, all clean. I'm gonna grease it before I put it back in. I'm gonna hit this carrier next. I was saying this earlier about getting this little piece out. Basically just gotta put screwdriver in there and then you turn it when it's in the car, obviously, and then you can push it right off of this ball and then it should come off. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do with one hand, but you get the point. There it goes. Okay, and then it will go back on like that on the shifter. So I'm going to remove this old rubber, clean the shifter up, and then start replacing these parts. Alright, I'm going to clean this thing off a little bit more before, but you can see the bushings are shot in there, so we're going to pull these guys out. Look at that. That's crazy. They look like destroyed. Okay, as you can see, we got the solid bushing in there now. So let's make sure the pin fits in here. Wow, that couldn't fit better actually. That fits virtually perfectly. So I'm going to finish cleaning this up and As you can see, we also got that carrier bushing there. See these 𝙠𝙚 washers here, little clear one. I can't find the other one, and I know I had opened it to try and shim the chassis mount, and I heard something drop when I pulled that pin out initially, and I still can't find it. So somewhere on the garage floor, I'll have to track that down, and if I can't, I'll have to use one of the older ones, but you can see that would be easy to lose. Anyways, I'll get back to you guys in a second. I'm not gonna lie, I just went under the car to see how the carrier bushing would come out of the transmission tunnel, and it's gonna be pretty tough, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to break the little mount that it's in. You can see we have this new poly one to put in there. And then I thought coming outside of the car and doing it from inside the car, because you could go through the transmission tunnel, I don't really think that's gonna do the trick either. So I think I'm gonna have to go back under. Again, I'm doing all this with everything in, so I'm sure if your transmission was out or even your driveline exhaust, it would be a little bit easier. Probably a lot bit easier. But yeah, I'm gonna go under there. I'll show you where it's at. It's pretty easy. The thing that sucks is the insulation for the transmission tunnel is like popped out, so I have to hold it back as I'm prying shit. But I'm gonna go get an assortment of screwdrivers and picks so I don't have to come back up, because that was a pain in the ass. I came all the way up and just to find out that it didn't work from going to the other side of the car, or going from the top side. So let me show you how I do it. All right, I am not the sharpest tool in the shed, because I just looked up how to remove this. I've been doing it wrong the whole fucking time. I don't know why it didn't come across to me, but I'm a fucking idiot. I'm thinking the whole time that this bushing has to come out from the metal carrier. I'm such an idiot. I will be right back. It's way easy now, because all I got to do is pry that fucker out. I mean, I'm sure it's ready to go because I've been doing it for so long. So anyways, yeah, that was hilarious. So I'll get back to you because that'll be out in just a second. That is an hour of my life that I will never get back. Here it is. It's all mangled because I've been trying to push this rubber out of its housing for the longest fucking time. So anyways, now that that's dealt with, I can take the new poly one, slap it in there, and then I'll be able to throw the carrier back in. And honestly, you know I just jinxed myself, but it'll be a cakewalk from here. And yeah, the rest of it's like, I've already done it. This is the only thing I hadn't done. I don't know why I didn't look that up before. Please learn from my mistake and watch this video. It may help you. Cannot believe what just fucking happened. It is 11:06 and I ended up getting the carrier bushing in. But something fucking ridiculous happened. I broke a fucking drill bit trying to get this out. The shifter got stuck in this new fucking, it's hot as fuck, that's why I'm not touching it. The shifter literally got stuck in this thing, which is ridiculous. So now I'm really bummed. I put this shifter in its little, whatever that stupid fucking thing is, inside of this carrier. And you'll see, I had to try, at first I tried to drill it out, right? So this thing's probably fucking totaled. And these are a bitch to get to. I can't just run to the junkyard and grab this. I have to basically do all this to get one of these. So realistically, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to just try and salvage this. I have another one of these, luckily. But I put the shifter in to try and get leverage to push this back into that poly bushing. But anyways, I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm so fucking pissed off. And I'm done for the night. I'm going to have to figure this out tomorrow. And I'll catch up with you then. Good afternoon. Good morning. It's the next day. And I've been fighting with the fucking bitch clip for about 2 hours. I'm sure everybody knows what clip I am talking about, but I will grab you one just so you can see. I couldn't film putting the clip in. I was using these solid conduit bushings, but they just were not fitting in between that little part in the transmission where that hooks up. So maybe it would have been sturdier and more solid if I had used those, but to be quite honest, they just weren't going to go. And I got the carrier stuck up in the tunnel for like an hour this morning, so that's what I was dealing with. And then it was partially because these solid bushings just were a little too thick, I guess I could have sanded them down like a slight little bit just to fit it, but the Turner ones just fit no problem. So the Turner little oval bushings that go in the carrier are in. The carrier bushing is in. I got that in last night. So the carrier is completely in. I will say this. I didn't expect putting the OEM carrier and the linkage back together for the OEM as hard as it was going to be. But it's fucking hard, and I'm not going to do it again. So if this is sloppy, that's it. The only other way I'm ever pulling this stuff back out is if I have the exhaust, the driveline, all that shit's out at the same time, just because it's such a pain to work around all that stuff. But at the same time, I didn't want to spend 2 hours pulling out this exhaust and the driveline, so I'm in the home stretch, basically. I'm really hoping I didn't fuck up the carrier, though, because I've got another one of these, what brand is this? This is a Rain. Hopefully it works. I got another one of those. You guys saw last night. This one got destroyed. Yeah, I'm not super stoked, if I'm being honest. But the last thing I have to do is much easier, like substantially easier. And this time I am not going to jinx myself. It's true. It's going to be a lot easier. Only thing I got to do is put in the selector rod. I'm thinking about at least trying the dual shear. But if I'm being honest, I'm so done with this. I would like to just put this in because I know it works. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, I will catch up with you guys when that is done. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I feel greatly defeated right now. I basically came to the realization that the detents in the transmission are just not good. And go figure, it's got 215,000 miles, but unfortunately I had to go through all that just to find out that that's what the real issue was. There's absolutely no play in the linkage now that it's all hooked up. And it looks better because I didn't like how tall the chassis mount sat in the car. But now it's kind of like we're back to square one. It's a little less sloppy than what it was before I did all the shifter stuff, but it's not a significant difference. I'll show you. So here it is. It actually looks quite good. Kept the ZHP knob, and it sits low. I like it, you know. It goes into gear, everything is just fine. But in gear, that is how much play we have. Here is neutral. Honestly, I don't know how to make this any better. I've tried everything, and seemingly I can't figure it out. And really, it's process of elimination. I can't think of anything else aside from those transmission detent pins. If the transmission comes out, you know, whenever in this car, I guess I will address it then and have somebody do that. But I'm done fucking with the shifter and all that from now on. I'm done. The chassis mount was cool, and I mean, it's fine. I didn't care for how notchy it really was. So hopefully one of you guys wants it, because I will be giving that whole setup away at 1,000 subscribers. I was really hoping for a different result, but I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. And with that being said, that's going to be basically the end of the video. It was a weird kind of 2-day process where I didn't really get anything done. I cut my hands up and got all fucking dirty 2 days in a row for nothing, but it is what it is. It's part of working on the car, I guess. So anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to let me know. If you have any suggestions on what I should be filming next, let me know as well. And that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.